Want to go for a ride?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So I'm going to reset it up for myself here, the way I like it. And now to go and drive, we're actually going to reverse out of here so you'll be able to see the rear view camera. All I have to do, the car is activated as soon as I sit in the driver's seat and there's a fob in the car.
Oh, cool.
So it's been active the whole time. All I have to do is put my foot on the brake and adjust in rear. And I don't know if you noticed, but when I put it in reverse, the mirror's actually tilted down for me.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, and then I can just back up with a nice rear view camera. Yeah, that's the other thing. We can actually raise the car because we have active suspension, and you'll actually feel it going up,
Yeah, that's
which
really
is
cool.
nice for getting through, those steep driveways or over speed bumps in parking lots, things like that. There we go. And now the car will actually lower itself as we increase speed. So when we get out on the highway, you'll notice that it'll shift down into low to reduce the drag.
Right. And less air under the car will make it suck down better and handle better. And lowers center of gravity. Although center of gravity in this car is extremely low.
Yeah, what is it, a GT 500, honey, you said?
Ford GT.
Ford GT. It has a similar center of gravity to a Ford GT.
Oh yeah, their
Supercar.
supercar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's like 17 inches or something. 17 and a half.
And if you notice, the car actually tells you its state. So I've got the blinker on, and it's blinking.
So you don't have the old people driving down this with the blinker on all the time?
Hopefully not.
Don't think it's
I like that it shows the 3G bars to show you how good of a connection you have.
And if
What
you
kind of signal
notice,
you have.
there's almost no sound. You can hear the road noise, but that's about it.
Yeah. I don't remember if Tesla chose tires that had low road noise or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. These are Goodyears.
They're low rolling
Okay,
resistance.
you want to brace
45,000
yourself
special.
back there, because I'm going to floor it to get on the highway, okay?
Cool.
Oh, I'm not worried.
No. And that's faster than my car by quite a bit. I think it probably pushed just about any car I've ever owned. And I own
Great
fast cars
passenger,
generally.
too.
Yeah, and so that's nice. So you had the 0 to 60 acceleration, which was almost nothing. But what's even better is you get that same acceleration at 60 miles an hour. So if I drop down to 60 without anybody in front of me, I'll get over in the fast lane and do it.
Yeah. And since you're on camera, can't tell, it really puts you back in your seat.
And if you notice, I haven't hit my brake. I'm actually using regen. You can see it there green to slow me, which is nice. So I can do that little burst of speed to get around a car or past a car, and then I regain a lot of that energy just by using regen. So it's kind of almost guilt-free.
Very cool. And you can see the suspension went back down to low.
Yep.
And you can see the steering modes of comfort, standard, and sport, traction control, and it shows the regenerative braking, and I guess you have controls on how you want to control that too.
Yep.
Low or standard.
Yep, and then they also offer a creep mode, which allows it to act more like when you have an automatic car and you're stopped and you take your foot off the brake, it kind of creeps forward on you. I don't particularly like that, so I've got it off. But if you want that sensation, they've made it so you can have that sensation. And again, we were talking about the rear view camera.
Yeah.
So the whole time we're driving, we can see what's behind us, which is actually nice because of the aerodynamic shape of the car, the actual view out the rear window isn't that large. So having that extra view from the camera can be helpful for looking for what else is around you.
And it's nice and wide angled, so you have less blind spot.
True. With the way we have our mirror set and this camera, I have very few blind spots on the car. Unfortunately, we don't have any winding roads here.
No,
We took it out on some winding roads this morning, and it was a lot of fun.
I bet.
Well, with that low center of gravity, you really can corner. I mean, we did a 25 mile an hour corner at like 45, 50. And it was nothing, you know.
Yeah, I've had some cars that handle great. I had a BMW 330 convertible with M3 suspension, and I think this handles better. Or so I hear.
It's hard to make the tires squeal on a corner. It actually, when I test rode, I actually pushed it to where I thought the limit would be, and it wasn't even close. Tires weren't even chirping yet. Hard cornering doesn't bother it at all. With the active air, it actually self-levels on top of it. So
Yeah, there's a lot of
I
There's
think it
a
has
lot
a
of-
working defroster in here, hopefully.
yes, it does.
There you go.
Wow, that's fast.
Oh yeah.
It's all electric, so it's fun.
And that's the other nice thing about this car too. In the morning, there's an app we have, so I can actually, while I'm laying in bed before I go to the gym, I'll actually turn the car, the climate control on in the car, so that by the time I get done getting ready to go to the gym, the car's already warmed up for me.
That's pretty cool. I know BMW had something like that in their 5 Series a while back. You could do it. You had to set it up beforehand, so it wasn't nearly as convenient as this. You had to actually set it up in the car then when you got out, and then hit a button on the remote, I believe, or you could set up a time, specific time. This is pretty cool because if you decided to sleep in but you still wanted to warm up the car, you just hit a button.
Oh yeah, it's very convenient. We can actually set the charging. We can start and stop the charging using the app. We can locate our car using the app. In fact, if you're not sure how to get to the car, it'll actually give you directions to the car with
That's
the app.
cool. Great when you're in those huge parking lots.
Oh yeah.
You can unlock the car.
And it also makes it really hard to steal too, because if somebody takes the car, I mean, you can tell the police right where the car is.
Tom, she drives like us.
But mine's guilt-free.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's the other nice thing. I mean, a full charge from empty to full is like less than $7.
That was a question I had coming up. Great.
And we can go somewhere between 220 miles to about 240, depending on how we drive.
Have you pushed it yet?
The furthest I've gone, I actually did come home one day with 18 miles of charge left. That was, but then I didn't actually start with a full charge. I started with 211 miles of charge.
And it was a cold day.
And it was a cold day. That is the one thing you have to adjust for. If it's cold out, the battery does use some of its own electricity in order to keep warm. And you're going to use more power just trying to keep the cabin warm. So you will have less range on colder days.
How about, well, I guess you guys haven't gotten to a hot day yet because you've just had it a few weeks, right?
Right, yeah, we haven't had a hot day. From the people that we've read about on the forums, we haven't noticed any range depreciation. Actually, you know, on hotter days when the air is less dense, it actually helps your range because you don't have to push the car through as much air.
Interesting.
And the other nice thing is when you're in traffic, like stop and go traffic, if you're stopped, you're not using really any energy. You know, maybe the seat heater, maybe the radio, but that's all the energy you're using. Unlike with a gas car, if you're sitting in stop and go traffic, you're burning gas the whole time you're not moving.
Yeah.
That was possibly the funniest question we had at the auto show is, what happens if you're stuck in stop and go traffic? Won't you run out of charge? And I said, you're probably going to run out of gas before I don't run out of charge, so I'm not using anything in traffic. Just stop there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, I could take it.
This ride's really nice too.
Oh yeah, the between the active air suspension and the fact that you've got this huge battery pack down there absorbing a lot of that bumps, you don't feel a lot of the road as far as, you know, the bumpiness of it.
Now, Tesla, I think, says the battery will last at least 100,000 miles, right?
So it's warranted for 8 years. On this car, because it has the biggest battery pack, the 85 kilowatt hour, it actually has unlimited mileage over that 8 years. There is a test car out there that they're running to see how much they can get off a battery, and that's actually exceeded 180,000 miles.
Oh, okay.
So I plan on having this car with this battery for probably a good 10 to 15 years, and it'll still probably have time left on its life after we get rid of it.
And at that point, the battery technology will be completely different, most likely.
That's possible, but the nice thing about the way this is situated, you know, unless it's a really radical difference, they should be able to, you know, modify it so that it'll fit right into where this battery pack is in now.
Yeah, the nice thing, when we get different batteries, they'll be much more dense. You'll get 600,000-800,000 miles out of a charge then.
Possibly. I mean, reading some of the tech they have out there, you know, they've got battery technology that could, right now, you know, if it goes mass market, could push us over, you know, 500, maybe even 1,000. So we just need to get it out there. It's, you know, it's coming.
Yeah, there's several interesting articles. I think I've put some up on my Facebook. One is lithium polymer. It sounds really interesting. And then they've changed, I think U of I is one of the places that's working on it. You change the anodes so that it charges much faster too.
Another one I've heard is sodium air. That's another good one. It's about 4 times the density of lithium ions, so it's even beyond the polymer. That'd give you, on a car something like this, if you multiplied it by 4, you could theoretically get over 1,000 miles per charge.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I think 300 is good, and it's probably good enough for 99% of the people. Because people don't realize you really don't, unless you go on a trip, you generally aren't going very far at all.
I think the biggest Apple moment you could say really is with the 300 miles on this car is capable of what Tesla has is called supercharging. They're putting stations through the country that are free to use, you know, if you have your car capable of using it, and it will charge this car from dead in just a little over an hour. So you could road trip this car cross country, getting supercharger after supercharger, and not pay a cent for fuel.
Yeah, I believe they have some of those in California now, and a few other places, but they have plans to have them all over the country.